My name's Henry Wajswelner. I'm a specialist sports physiotherapist. I have a clinical doctorate in physiotherapy and I specialise in spinal and sports injuries. I'm a former Australian Olympic team physiotherapist with a long association with the Australian rowing team. I spent 14 years at the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra as a senior sports physiotherapist. And now I have two roles. I coordinate the Master of Sports Physiotherapy program at Latrobe University, which is a very successful program with a flexible delivery of theoretical and practical components of sports physiotherapy, so people can get their master's degree in sports physio. And clinically I work here at Pilates Body Logic Studio in Clifton Hill in Melbourne as a consultant in sports physiotherapy and musculoskeletal injuries. This is my definition of what makes a good sports physiotherapist. I think there are two sides to it. The first one is to have the technical skill, so you need to continually learn and upgrade your technical hands-on skills in assessing and treating and prescribing treatment programs for athletes. The second, most important aspect of this is to be a good communicator. And I think that a good physiotherapist is one that listens carefully to the athlete and specifically addresses their concerns. Their concerns won't always be about their injury or their pain. There's generally a large concern with the performance in their sport, being able to compete or train, and there might be a short-term goal as well as a long-term goal about resolving an injury. A good sports physiotherapist always gives the opportunity to the athlete to ask questions. So there is a point in the consultation where the physio will stop and say, okay, do you want to ask me any other questions about your problem? Are there any other concerns? And the third aspect now is to really to be a good planner and organiser, so you map out a really detailed rehabilitation program so the athlete has a management plan that they can refer to. They know the stages in the plan and the milestones they should be achieving so they can progress towards getting the result they need. A good physiotherapist is one that stays up to date and is continually upgrading themselves, learning the newest techniques and staying up to date with the latest literature. And I can tell you from my own experience that every time I embarked on a different stage of professional development, because I started off doing postgraduate study and did a Masters of Musculoskeletal, went on to become an APA sports physiotherapist. And then I became a specialist sports physiotherapist by passing the Australian College of Physiotherapy exams. And the third stage really for me was then completing a clinical doctorate in physiotherapy. So what I can tell you is that every time I completed each one of those stages, it was like an upgrade to my career. It certainly led to enhanced employment opportunities, there's no doubt about that. I know for certain that I was able to get really jobs in elite sport because of my extra qualifications. It just gives you a competitive advantage against all the other physiotherapists out there wanting to get those really interesting and terrific jobs out there in elite sport. And the third thing is that it has kept me fresh in my career. It's like having a reboot to your motivation and the excitement of staying in the profession and just taking things to another level. So that's helped me with the longevity of my career and to stay really focused and fresh as a sports physiotherapist through those three different stages. Well, I think along the lines of what I said about having that competitive advantage with the other physiotherapists out there. Technically, you're all terrific therapists, but what is the thing that sets you apart from your colleagues is that you've taken on and completed that extra professional development. Now we run it's the most successful Master of Sports Physiotherapy program in Australia. This year in 2014 we have around 250 enrolments in different parts of the course. We have a flexible delivery model where people can stay living in their home state. In fact, most of our students don't live in Melbourne and they only have to attend to Latrobe University in Melbourne for 2 weeks face-to-face. They can do their clinical placements in sporting teams or organisations where they live. We encourage people to push the envelope and shoot for their dreams and ask me if they can do a placement in the United States or in the UK or in Europe or wherever they aspire to get involved in elite sports. So we've got a lot of elite sporting team placements and sporting organisation placements, which we're very proud of. The other thing that I've noticed is one of the huge advantages of getting involved in this sort of program is your exposure to a huge network of colleagues, and it always pleasantly surprises me at the end of each year. I hear about various students that have got terrific jobs in interstate or overseas because of the connections and the network they've been able to tap into as part of the course. So it's quite a common scenario where a student will go into a placement at an AFL team or one of the national top flight teams. They'll do well in that placement, and as soon as a vacancy comes up in that situation, they get that job just because they've established that successful connection with their colleagues and the people they're going to be working with. So that networking is one of the really big bonuses of the program. And plus that delivery model allows you to keep working and stay engaged clinically while you're studying and you're completing your studies. And people often are working full-time, they're still travelling with teams, but because our course is, a lot of it is online and can be taken wherever you live or wherever you're travelling, they can complete the course even while they're doing that.
What type of people would you recommend to do this course? Obviously they need 3 to 5 years out, or?
Yeah, actually the minimum is 2 years out. The type of people, well, you need to be decided that you're going to go and become a sports physiotherapist. So you have aspirations to work with elite sports teams or work with elite athletes. You need that extra qualification under your belt, get that extra knowledge, the cutting edge science of how to manage the chronic injury syndromes, the tendinopathies, the stress fractures, the chronic issues that plague elite athletes. So first of all, you need a commitment, and that's sort of what you want to do in terms of your long-term aspirations as a career, that you want to be a sports physiotherapist. And the second, that you do have to set aside time for your studies. So you have to be well organised and good in terms of time management, so you can actually complete your studies. And a lot of our students spread out their studies and do it over about 4 or 5 years. Others do it more intensively. But the main thing is that the commitment is there and that they're able to set aside the time and dedicate that to their studies so they can get it completed.
Obviously I'm going to Sri Lanka and possibly India as well with this. Can we talk a little bit about Latrobe University and their involvement in how they want to expand into those areas? Because obviously it's...
What we want to do is run an international Master of Sports Physiotherapy program. So if we can get some connections and establish some friendships and relationships in Sri Lanka and India, I know a lot of really good physiotherapists there who are interested in doing that sort of program, and we can develop things from there. And obviously we can deliver a lot of the program online, and we can also organise placements either in those countries or in the region, or if those physiotherapists want to travel somewhere and do a placement somewhere, as long as they can get a really good quality supervision in sports physiotherapy. We've got experience in organising that experience as well.
That's the master's program.
Yeah.
Some of these students from overseas, they want to do their PhD as well.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you'd be a good contact person to have.
Yeah, well, we're running PhD programs as well. So PhD is obviously a research-based program. So in that situation, the commitment is that you want to complete a piece of research. So as distinct from a clinical doctorate, a PhD is 100% research by thesis. So if you've got a burning question that you want to answer, something that's you've got a passion in a particular area of sports physiotherapy, I'd like to hear about that. And at the moment I'm supervising 3 high degree research students involved in various aspects of exercise and sports physiotherapy.
Good. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to meet you at some point. It'd be great if I could come. I've actually taught in India a few times and really enjoyed the experience love the food, Indian food and Sri Lankan food, and so looking forward to it.